What is going on, you guys? My name is Rayge, and we are back today with a very exciting Marvel Strike Force blog post. As you can see, 3 of the newest characters being part of the next patch, so this is really big, guys. They've actually already released all of the kit information, so we're gonna be able to deep dive each of that and just see the synergies there. But I'll do that at the end of the video, so that way we can get through the Marvel Strike Force blog post and you can get like a really good recap of all the updates and highlights. But first and foremost, guys, before I even dive into any of the details, what's very notable and I want to bring to your attention is the fact that Scopely has announced now that SpiderWeaver is actually required for Apocalypse Saga. So, you know, it's been previously mentioned that the 5th and final Apocalypse Saga is going to require some additional requirements to go through and actually unlock Apocalypse. Well, turns out having these custom characters like SpiderWeaver, they're actually going to be required to unlock Apocalypse. So you can see official confirmation, she is the first required character in that saga. So what that tells us now is that there's likely going to be some other teams in the future where maybe select characters are going to be utilized and required. And what's really interesting about this little detail is the fact that it's just her. It's not the rest of her team. So it's gonna, you know, put us in a position where we have to be really mindful of which characters are coming out for teams respectfully, but as well as having the materials and resources to ensure that we can fully invest in them. But yeah, just for your guys' heads up, an absolute requirement. So make sure we build her up because she's going to be required, especially since we've been working for the better half of a year now towards Apocalypse. As well, you know, like I said earlier, the full kits are here, so I'll just go ahead. I'll review this at the end of this video, so that way we can actually keep it all together. But I want to go through the rest of this blog post to give you guys a brief and short update here. Cosmic Crucible Season 1, as I noted in the Data Mines review, this is coming up very quickly here, guys. So it's gonna, the final preseason's ending on the 8th, so we have 1 more week left, and then it's gonna start on September 12th with the new seasons. And there are actually some pretty notable upgrades here, and they've already kind of divided into some subdivisions. Hopefully this is a better way of kind of allocating against the system in terms of the TCPs that we're up against, because I've definitely noticed that when I'm going through it, you know, for me personally, I have a harder time because I'm up against usually folks that have a couple million combat power higher than mine, and it really does show in the teams, right? They updated the rewards as well, so it's been expanded with the addition of more T2 level 4 ions, so hopefully we can see that in practice there. Obviously, the more wins equals more rewards. Tangled team, official confirmation now that they are joining the Unlimited X-Men and Wakandans as the Cosmic Crucible Specialist. So just keep that in mind when you guys are doing this review, because you really do need to focus on which teams to invest in, especially if this is a mode that you're specifically focused on building. And again, one of the few areas in the game where we can actually get the T2 level 4 ion upgrades. Another big improvement here is the fact that they actually announced that there's going to be more stage rules now for stages 3 to 6, and as well as a new global stage rule in effect. So overall, here's what's happening. The global rule for Age of X is probably in honor of the Apocalypse, and it's hero mutants gain the additional damage reduction, focus, and resistance. Hero mutants also clear revive once. So basically, the hero mutants characters, they're going to get more potential buffs here. As you can see, this is a really big one to actually use the mutants. Stage 1 and 2, there's no rules. It's always going to be the same as previously, but it does include the global rule now, so keep that in mind. We have Stage 3 now being Spider-Mania, so Spider-Verse characters are going to gain Safeguard for 2 turns and 2 deflects. So this is a really big one because if you guys haven't used the Symbiotes or the Web Warriors, this is going to be a slot in now. And I'm also keeping in mind, this can synergize extremely well with the Tangled Web team too. So just keep that in mind once they get released. We have Latent Power as Stage 4. At the end of the turn, global heroes do gain offense up. So we want to focus on utilizing global heroes here, obviously. We have Biological Temperament. Bio characters apply offense down to a random enemy without offense down. Okay, so this is just going to be able to actually apply offense down continually. So again, I think the bio characters, maybe Gamma characters specifically, the majority of them are bio, as well as the Spider-Verse. They're going to get some benefits there. And then lastly, the Tales of Legend. So legendary characters gain additional damage. On spawn, legendary characters gain 3 turns of defense up and Safeguard, which is very notable. They're going to be almost untouchable for 3 full turns, and the defense up is going to mitigate a lot of damage, especially since it's Safeguard and it can't be taken away. And then lastly, on turn, each of the legendary characters remove all negative effects from themselves and gain speed up. So pretty much they're going to, you know, on each of their turns, they're actually going to be able to hold on to a lot of the benefits and retain maintain that defense and support. So legendary characters are going to be absolutely unstoppable in stage 6. This is what's going to be notable. This defense could be very interesting to go up against, even with these with the meta teams that we have. So Hulk Hunter, just a reminder for everyone to kind of link up the game so that way we can access the web milestones, or just giving us a reminder there. We've been well aware of the coordinated assault since last blog post as well, giving us the updates for dates. So if you recall, a coordinated assault is just working with your alliance and spending the ISO 8 energy campaign. This is also going to build towards unlocking additional credits and cells for the Hulk Hunter, but as well as the T2 level 4 ions as well. Okay, just going down here. Power of Attorney, we got some updates here, you know, in honor of She-Hulk's new show. But we do have milestones that's going to be worked towards this as well. And it's going to be basically working in tandem with the Power of Attorney milestone, building towards unlocking these briefcases. And this is actually done through blitzing. So if you scroll down here, they have the other milestone here. Just to simplify it, just know that you need to blitz to earn points towards the milestone, which is going to allow you to get the additional items to help you towards the month-long milestone. And as well, what's going to be notable is if you have defenders or any gamma-based characters, there's going to be more points added, and that's going to make it easier with less blitzing overall. So yeah, just another Fighting Force web milestone as well to be aware of. This one's going to be focused on war, so just making sure that you guys are doing your war battles, and it does actually build towards the 6th day. And again, it's going to have A-Force characters and gear, and just overall gear level. So you can see the biggest thing is just making sure that you're engaged in war battles. And then lastly, they just go through the breakdowns here of the upcoming Rumble for each of the respective weeks here. So we got Weapon X coming up. We have actually another character getting now added into the Ultimate Store here, as well as supplies, and that's being Valkyrie. So just timing wise, Mega Orb, she's also going to be replacing Red Guardian. So I'm not sure how much you guys get. We got Payday coming up. We got the Red Death, Omega Red, starting September 6th, so that's absolutely huge. Always a fun time to unlock him. He's one of the best legendaries in the game. Yeah, I think they did a better job outlining all the quick rumbles in the previous blog post, because they just listed at the very bottom, but that's easier to kind of see. But there you guys have it. That's pretty much the update here of the blog post. So that being said, guys, I did want to take a deeper dive into each of the kits and kind of see what we're expecting this Tangled Web team, because keep in mind as well, they're going to be the forefront of another Cosmic Crucible team. So it's going to be really, really interesting here. So starting off, guys, SpiderWeaver. Let's see what she can actually go ahead and do. So attacking primary target for damage. What's going to be notable about her attacks is that she's going to be applying bleed and piercing. If she has any negative effects, actually, she's going to be having a self-cleanse. So that's really different for a basic attack. And if she doesn't have any negative effects, she actually cleanses the negative from her random ally. So again, benefiting herself or the team, and she can actually repeat this attack as well. Fateful Decision. Gaining defense up for 2 turns and offense up. So, you know, like a offense and add defensive capability. In Crucible, she's actually going to gain the immunity, so it ensures that, you know, these can't be stripped away. A little different from Safeguard. It just ensures that she can't get any negatives. So try not to mistake in those two. If she doesn't have any charges, she does gain charges. And as well, when she does use this ability, it spreads all the positive effects to all the respective Tangled Web characters and to other random allies. So what that basically means is that she's going to be benefiting regardless who's on the team. Using this special as well, it actually heals herself and the Tangled Web allies for 30%. And also provides a smaller heal to the rest of the team. So I think that's the reason why she's going to be so notable in all different game modes, because you know, that all those benefits actually come regardless if the Tangled Web characters are on her team. Obviously, it's better to have their synergy, but because of that, she's going to be proving to be a very useful slotting character that you can essentially put into any kind of team dynamic. And as well, the damage aspect side, she's going to be attacking and rebounding to adjacent enemies, and it does actually chain to stealth targets as well. So that's pretty notable, unavoidable, and can't be blocked. Her ultimate, Threads of Fate. So a very high energy cost, 8 out of 8. And she does attack the primary target for the significant amount of damage, as well as applying stun and trauma. So that's interesting because we haven't really seen a lot of characters that kind of work alone, applying a stun and trauma, so it really ensures that it can't be stripped away. In doing so, she also gains Safeguard for 2 turns and gaining additional charges. In Crucible, it turns into 5 charges. So that's really notable, guys. What I'm interested now to see is what the impact of the charges will do. So lastly, her passive, Weaver of Destiny. So on spawn, she's going to apply stealth for 2 turns to all Tangled Web, including herself. In Crucible, there's going to be a barrier, and as well, there's going to actually be additional HP for the rest of the characters. So this is why it's a no-brainer to actually upgrade them if you're using Crucible. But as well, I just think these are such powerful effects regardless. Now, on each of her turns, she's actually going to be burying herself for 15% HP, and whenever herself or Tangled Web does get attacked, she generates ability energy for herself, and as well filling up the speed bar. While she has charges, so this is what I'm interested in, while she has the charges, lowers the accuracy by 100% for all enemies. When any enemy misses, you lose a charge. Okay, so essentially, the more charges you have, essentially ensures those attacks miss. So there is limitations to that, because obviously, this is going to be the mechanic behind the charges. Any enemies killed by this character also cannot be revived. Very, very interesting. So she almost has like a black bolt mechanic behind her attacks. Wow, so as I said earlier, guys, this is definitely the next God tier level character. Just look at all these benefits that she's getting and providing to the team. And the crazy thing is that we know that she's coming out as a free-to-play event, being campaign. And as well, just look at all these different benefits she can give, regardless of the team dynamic. Lastly, T4ing this probably is going to give them the extra HP, and as well as providing that to Tangled Web characters. In Crucible, they also gain the additional HP, regardless of the team dynamic. So, wow, guys, SpiderWeaver, that was quite a bit of information in regards to what she can bring, but I can definitely understand, you know, the value she's going to bring to every team dynamic. So, absolutely incredible kit right there. Next up, guys, Miguel O'Hara, aka Spiderman 2099 in the future timeline of 2099. Let's take a look at his kit. So first and foremost, a little bit different from SpiderWeaver, because we noted that SpiderWeaver, just to confirm here, the trait breakdown so we can see the differences. You know, she's going to be a hero global mystic, which is very, very different and unique for a Spider-Verse character, right? Typically, they're bio, and typically, you know, they're usually city, but you can see with this one now, finally along the same trend. With 2099, we got hero, city, bio, so that's very consistent. Talon slash, the basic attack, attacking primary target, percentage damage, clearing random positive effects, and as well applying defense down and bleed. So kind of very similar to Symbiote Spider-Man's basic. This is going to chain as well to adjacent targets and clear positive effects. So it almost has like a built-in skirmisher effect to it. In Crucible on crit, that basic attack is actually going to prolong the duration of all negative effects. This, however, does exclude stun and ability block and trauma. Just because those are usually the better negative effects. So, you know, there's some limitations there, but regardless, still a really good basic. The fact that you can actually extend negative conditions. Blind is a good one still. Shock and Awe special attack. So applies ability block, crowd controlling, and as well as doing damage to adjacent targets, flipping offense up, and as well as applying bleed. So bleed seems to be a consistent trend for this character. Applying offense up for 2 turns as well that don't have the offense up. So really, really notable. And what's nice is that it prioritizes Tangled Web, but even if there isn't, it's going to benefit the allies as well that aren't. In Crucible on crit, again, going to be prolonging the duration of negative effects, and as well as applying bleed. So very, very notable, guys. Basic and special so far. Very powerful kits for these characters overall. Lastly, we have the Ultimate Future Flurry. Ultimate attacking the primary target. If they have Death Proof, they're going to actually apply Death Proof to themselves. So that's absolutely huge. Almost kind of stripping it away, but applying it and stealing it. Attacking all the enemies for 300% damage, clearing positive effects, and applying slow and defense down. So it looks like defense down, bleeds, negatives really is what's going to be notable for 2099 here. The focus of just spreading it and actually ensuring that there's disadvantage being placed, as well as filling up the speed bar for itself, as well as all the Tangled Web characters on crit, again consistent with the rest of the kit, prolonging those durations. And then we have the passive here. On spawn, SpiderWeaver is an ally. Speed up is going to be gained. Each of the turns they're going to be flipping the positive effects to negatives on the enemy. This character does gain focus for each active ability as well when clearing, so really notable. In Crucible, SpiderWeaver is an ally. The damage reduction for all enemies with bleed is also applied. Drain is also allowed for the rest of the characters too, so this is how they're going to get some of their sustain and healing. I was kind of wondering about that. So we got damage mitigation and prevention from Weaver, and now we got a bunch of these negative conditions being inflicted and as well as extended thanks to 2099. So wow, just look at that synergy, right? And then lastly, guys, Spider-Man Noir coming during the Great Depression 1932. This is the Peter Parker version of that, but you know, it's cool that we're getting a different version. And similar to what we've seen, guys, Hero City Mystic. So another strange Spider-Verse character where they're placed in Mystic. Basic attack here, applying primary target damage for 300%, gaining stealth after the primary attack, and as well as a chance to gain evasion. In Crucible, the evasion is always guaranteed, so a little bit more simpler of a kit there. Chicago Typewriter, attacking primary target for piercing and applying bleed, as well as always applying the attack to the most injured enemy, as well as applying the bleed if this is the case. If they don't have any negative effects, we're actually going to fill up this character's speed bar for 50%, so that's actually nice to synergize that if there's instances where there isn't negatives. Ultimate lead rain here, attacking primary target for 350% piercing damage, applying bleed and heal block, so definitely more notable in synergizing with 2099. Attacks the adjacent targets for piercing as well, wow, like, so it's all just going to apply to every enemy together. And then lastly, if they have stealth, they're also going to apply disruption for 2 turns. So really just kind of finishing up the rest of the negative conditions that's being inflicted. Monochromatic Menace is the passive here. In Crucible, if health is full at the start, they're going to gain revive once. So that's actually huge here for himself. I wonder if this applies to the rest of the team. This character attacks deal an additional 50% damage to any Hydra or Swarm enemies. Okay, I'm interested why it's actually specifically Hydra. Wondering if that's a typo or if they're going to change that up, but we will see. When an enemy gains a positive effect, as well, fill this character by speed bar of 10%. So notable in the sense that whenever they do have pauses, he's going to be getting faster and faster closer to his turn. Gaining additional damage there is another benefit, and as well providing that to the rest of the team. And in Crucible, if SpiderWeaver is an ally, non-Tangled Web Spider-Verse allies also gain 50% damage. So unlike the previous benefits, this one specifically targets Spider-Verse allies. So very notable. Good to know if that's going to play into potential teams that come out. But overall, guys, wow, these are some very powerful characters right now. SpiderWeaver in 2099 definitely seem to be the focus for myself. I like Spider-Man's Noir's kit overall, but the other two are definitely heads and shoulders just because of their kit overall. And they're definitely going to shake things up in the meta, so it's going to be super interesting, guys. Hope you enjoyed this quick overview of the video blog post here. Thank you as always, you guys, and I'll see you in the next one.